What's up, everybody? 6 Foot Ben, and I'm gonna go over substrate for you guys, and I've also been asked to explain the whole mushroom process, so I'll do that real quick. So, if you went about doing my techs right, I recommend the first tech more than the microwave tech because I've done it more. But either way, when you get your jars and you got them, they should look like this. You're going to inoculate them with spores, or you can use another colonized jar to grain the grain. After about a month, your jars will look more like this. And as you can see, I recycle jars, poor boy style. And once they're solid white like that, then you'll move them out into, or you'll, throw them in the bulk substrate. So I'll get into that in a second. So, like a magic trick, I'll snap my finger. All right. So once you get the once you get the jars colonized, you're going to mix this into bulk substrate, and I'll go over that in a whole other video. But eventually, what you'll end up with, and what happens is, you put it in the bulk substrate, you put it in a container. This is a grape container. It's for grapes, but you put it in like a tray, right? And with your substrate, and it'll eventually start fruiting. And I'll get into all that at another time. But how I do my substrate is I take aspen. Aspen is pet bedding for like gerbils or snakes, whatever the fuck you're gonna use. I use it for mushrooms. So what I do is I get jars, like big jars, the biggest jars I can find. Like I said, you can use any kind of jars, any kind of glass jars you want, or you can use an oven bag or anything that can go in an oven, okay? So I use jars because I have them around. And what I do is I use this aspen and I use compost manure. There's a brand called KOW that they have at Walmart and Home Depot. I like to use that better, but I got this one for like $2.99 for a big bag. So what I'll do is I'll take like a handful of aspen and I'll throw it into a bucket, and I'll take a handful of the compost manure and I'll mix it together like I'm making cookies. Okay, and I'll take another handful of this and another nice handful of this manure, and then I pour a little bit of water in it. Not much. You just start out small and keep on going until this stuff is, it's not soaking wet, but it's moist. This feels pretty moist right now. I'm going to give it just a tiny bit more water. Mix it. And what you want is, you want to get it to where, it's wet, but if you squeeze it, barely any water comes out of it, but it's still wet, but you don't get a big stream of water coming out of it. And then you load it into your jar like this, okay? So, move on to the next step. All right, so we got our jars, the nice wet substrate, manure and aspen, and also in the jars I do have holes punched in the top. You don't have to put tape over them, but it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't really matter. And then you're going to cover those lids with some tin foil. Just cover them loosely, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm fucking doing it, but I guess it keeps anything bacteria out. All right, so then I'm gonna preheat my oven to 300 degrees. All right, so I've already got this fucker started, and I'm gonna put my jars in there, and whoa, be careful. And then I'm going to let my oven preheat to 300 degrees. Once it beeps and I know it's reached 300, I'm going to back it down to 170. And I'm going to let that bake, the jars bake at 170 for 90 minutes. After the 90 minutes, I'm going to take them out, let them cool off, and then they'll be ready to use. So, and then I'll go into that in another video. So yeah, that's how I do my bulk substrate. All right, good luck.